And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you have to go to preparewithNYPrepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. And this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life and includes over 2,000 calories per day. All of this food is stored within 6 rugged, water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. And My Patriot Supply is also doing a 30% discount on the Vesta self-powered indoor space heater and stove. With this thing, you can safely heat and cook indoors. You don't have to worry about carbon monoxide poisoning. You don't have to worry about burning your house down. It uses special canned heat, and it comes with 24 cans. Each can will last you 6 hours and can warm up a room of 200 square feet. So to get the deal, also go to preparewithNYPrepper.com. And also, My Patriot Supply has a general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival items. To get to that store, you just click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page, and it'll take you to their general store. And they have all different kinds of discounts here on various items. They have MREs, they have water filters, they have potassium iodides, fire starters, anything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply and 30% off of the Vesta indoor space heater and stove. What's going on, guys? Let me know if you can hear me. How's everybody doing? So I want to just update you guys with some of the latest breaking news from around the world. Hope everybody's doing well. James R. Van, thank you so much for the donation. How's it going? So I still expect some kind of massive strike on Iran and its proxies very soon in the coming days. And when that happens, I will definitely be covering it live. So make sure you're subscribed, and also make sure you hit the bell icon below so you get notified when I go live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just jump right into some of the breaking news. And then later on, I'll open up the chat and we'll talk and talk about different things. So let me just share my screen real quick. So hopefully you guys can see that. Hope you're having a good Wednesday night, everybody. And thanks again, James, for the donation. You guys can also donate on my PayPal. YouTube actually takes 30% of donations through the super chat. So if you donate to my PayPal, it goes directly to me without, YouTube taking 30% of it. So just so you guys are aware. So if you're going to make like a larger donation, consider going to my PayPal. So otherwise, you're going to give a lot of money to YouTube. So hopefully you guys can see the screen here. We had a presidential doomsday plane in the air just about 2 hours ago, and it actually got aerially refueled over southeastern Colorado. So this was a Boeing E-4B Night Watch. Okay, this is the doomsday plane for the president if there's nuclear war or some kind of cataclysmic event. The president would go onto this plane and command the entire U.S. nuclear arsenal and our military from the air. It's an airborne command post. It's basically like a flying Pentagon. And so this plane was aerially refueled right here over southeastern Colorado and southwestern Kansas. You can see right here over Johnson City, Kansas is right around the area where it got refueled right here. So that's definitely a sign that our nuclear forces and our strategic forces are on high alert ahead of this weeks-long campaign against Iran and its proxies. If you didn't see my update earlier, I recommend you go back and watch it. I will recap some of the main points from my update earlier after I update with the latest info. But, we do have a presidential doomsday plane airborne potentially right now. Just got aerially refueled. We also have a lot of activity over the Korean Peninsula. Now, this is really interesting. We actually had a U.S. combat scent plane take off from Okinawa and head up towards the Korean Peninsula. Now, the combat scent planes, there's only 2 of them in the U.S. military. Okay, there's only 2 of these planes, and these are basically reconnaissance planes that give information directly to the president and the top generals and the joint chiefs. So if one of these planes is airborne somewhere, it means something is serious enough going on that they want to inform the president about it and the joint chiefs and the top generals. So this plane took off from Okinawa probably just about 3 hours ago. Okay, you can see right here, it took off from Okinawa, and then it went up towards the Korean Peninsula, and it turned its transponder off somewhere over the East China Sea. Okay, so it started heading up towards Korea, and then it shut its transponder off. So something is going on over here in the Korean Peninsula for there to be a combat scent plane turning its transponder off and flying up there. Okay, like I said, only 2 of them in the Air Force, and they provide intelligence directly to the president and the Joint Chiefs. Okay, now we also have this RC-135 rivet joint right here flying along the border with North Korea right now. And what's interesting is it actually flew all the way up here, right off the coast of North Korea, right off of North Korea's southwestern coast. Okay, so it came really close to North Korea here, and it's still in the air right now near Incheon, South Korea. But you can see it's been flying back and forth along the border with North Korea. This is a ISR plane, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance plane. So very heightened level of activity over the Korean Peninsula tonight. Potentially there may be another missile test by Kim Jong-un, who knows? But I haven't seen activity like this on the Korean Peninsula in quite a while. And we also had a P-8 Poseidon sub-hunter that flew up towards the border of North Korea, and then it shut its transponder off. Okay, so a lot of activity over the Korean Peninsula tonight, and I'm very concerned that we could see some kind of provocation this year by North Korea. I think North Korea may actually launch missiles into South Korea this year. I think we could see some kind of escalation there. Here we have the Doomsday plane earlier getting aerially refueled over southeastern Colorado. Here's a closer shot. You can see the Doomsday plane flying right next to the aerial refueler. And this was earlier in the evening. You can see this P-8 Poseidon flying along the west coast of South Korea, and it turned its transponder off. And then here you can see that combat scent plane right before it turned its transponder off. So a lot of stuff going on. And last night we had more surveillance and reconnaissance over the Baltic countries. Here you can see a French reconnaissance plane flying around the Baltic countries along their border with Russia and Belarus. Okay, so lots of surveillance and reconnaissance over the Baltic countries. Very concerning. We also had some reconnaissance in Poland last night and earlier today. Here's an Australian reconnaissance plane. This is actually an Australian AWACS plane flying in southeastern Poland along the Ukrainian border. Pretty unusual to see an Australian AWACS plane in Poland, so that's very interesting. So some of the main headlines I want to get to now. Apparently, there was another strike in Yemen today by the U.S. So according to CBS News, citing a senior defense official in Bahrain, apparently this evening, several F-18s destroyed 10 drones in western Yemen that were about to launch towards ships in the Red Sea. So 10 drones destroyed by the U.S. tonight. Okay. Just Travelist, thank you for the donation. I'll check my email. Maybe if you can just reply to that email so it bumps it up to the top of my inbox. Scott Dykstra, thank you for the gifted membership. Ross Kleinman, thank you for the gifted memberships, 10 memberships. Thank you. John Domini, thank you for the donation. Jesus is coming soon. Eclipse over the U.S. on April 8th. That's right. We have that big eclipse coming. Pamela, thank you for the donation. I hope you're doing well. And Lisa Calabretta, hope you're having a great night. Thank you for the donation. So 10 drones destroyed by U.S. F-18s tonight. We have Yemen sources on the ground in Yemen reporting that there were 12 violent kabooms near the port city of Hodeidah in western Yemen earlier today. Okay, so a pretty serious strike today by U.S. forces. And the maritime risk management company Ambry is reporting that a missile has hit a commercial ship in the southwestern part of the Gulf of Aden in Yemen. Okay, so another commercial ship has been hit by a Houthi missile. There was one hit over the weekend, forcing the entire crew to evacuate. They were rescued by an Indian Navy ship. The Indian Navy now has 10 warships in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Okay, 10 warships. That is insane. Okay, so another commercial ship has been hit by a missile. Okay, this ship was actually hit. All right. So the situation's continuing to escalate in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. It's not getting any better. It's only getting worse and worse. Okay, these little tiny strikes that we're doing are not deterring the Houthis at all. As you can see, they're actually escalating their strikes, and they're targeting U.S. warships now. I have some updated information on another warship that was targeted. And apparently the USS Carney, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, had to shoot down an anti-ship ballistic missile along with several drones launched towards it by the Houthis earlier today. So this is the fourth warship since Sunday that has been targeted by the Houthis. On Sunday, we had the Lewis B. Puller, U.S. Amphibious assault ship that was targeted by several missiles. We had another ship on Monday. I forgot the name already of that one. We had another ship yesterday, the USS Gravely, and now we have the USS Carney. That's four different warships since Sunday. So a different warship every single day has been targeted now. And the USS Carney shot down this missile using an SM-6 interceptor missile, which is worth $4 million, guys. These SM-6 missiles are built for intercepting ICBMs, okay? These are part of our Aegis missile defense system. If you don't know what the Aegis missile defense system is, it's basically a missile defense system used by the Navy. The Navy has interceptor missiles on their warships, and they can basically move these warships wherever they need to. If there's some kind of a crisis, they can move these warships somewhere, and they can use these warships to intercept anything up to an ICBM. Okay, these interceptors have a speed of like Mach 8 or something crazy like that, 8 times the speed of sound. And they're actually the foundation for the European missile defense system that we have in Poland and Romania to intercept Russian ICBMs and IRBMs. Okay, so we're using basically top of the line missile interceptors to shoot down these anti-ship missiles that Yemen is firing at our warships. How long is this going to continue, guys, before we waste all of our top of the line missiles intercepting their cheap, crappy missiles? And then we're not going to have anything left when Iran starts to launch missiles at Israel, and we need those interceptors to intercept the ballistic missiles that Iran is shooting at Israel. We're not going to have them because we're using them all against the Houthis. Okay, so this is a huge, huge mess up by the Biden administration. Okay, we're wasting millions and millions of dollars shooting down drones and cheap missiles that are worth like 1/10 the price of one of these missiles, okay, that we're using. So they intercepted an anti-ship ballistic missile with a SM-6 interceptor, okay, and then some of the drones that were launched towards it were downed using a combination of other defensive weapons. We also have some breaking news coming in that the USS Gravely, which was targeted yesterday by a drone, apparently this drone was taken down by the close-in weapon system on board that warship. So if you don't know what the close-in weapon system is, I'll show you a video in a second. It's basically a last line of defense for a U.S. warship. It's just like a giant machine gun, okay, and it fires 20 millimeter rounds, okay, so that 20 millimeter round makes a 50 BMG look like a 22, okay, and this machine gun can lock onto incoming targets, whether they're missiles or drones or planes. They can lock onto it, and then it fires like hundreds of rounds a minute or hundreds of rounds a second, actually, with these massive 20 millimeter rounds to try to destroy the target. Okay, but if a Navy ship has to use the Phalanx close-in weapon system, it means that it's already gotten way too close. And apparently this drone was taken down just 1 mile away from this USS Gravely destroyer. It's the closest. I'm sorry, I don't think it was a drone. It was a cruise missile. I'm sorry. This was a cruise missile, not a drone, a cruise missile that came within a mile of one of our destroyers, and it had to use its close close range weapon system to shoot it down. And this is the closest that any Houthi missile has come to a U.S. warship. Okay, and this is being reported by 4 U.S. officials to CNN. So this is 100% real. This is not fake. Okay, so multiple warships being targeted. One of them, the closest a missile has ever come to hitting one. Okay, second commercial ship hit by a missile today. So things are really spiraling out of control in the Red Sea and in the Middle East in general. And apparently we have intense aircraft movement around the northern part of Yemen towards the Persian Gulf. Apparently at least 150 to 200 U.S. tankers, reconnaissance planes, and cargo planes have arrived in the region in the last 3 days, guys. So hundreds of tankers, recon planes, and cargo planes, transport planes, have arrived in the Middle East in the last 3 days. So this is going to be a massive campaign of some kind. Biden's entire reputation is on the line here because remember, Biden made a promise months ago saying that, we're going to defend our troops. If anything happens, we're going to retaliate, blah, blah, blah. Biden's poll numbers are below Trump's poll numbers now. So if Biden doesn't respond properly here, his chances of re-election are going to go way down. He's already losing to Trump in a lot of polls. So, logically, you would think, that Biden would want to respond pretty seriously to, even just from a political point of view, just to, not have his poll numbers plummet anymore. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how things play out, but hundreds of tankers, recon planes, and cargo planes arriving in the region the last 3 days, according to various observers in the Middle East. And John Kirby said today at the White House briefing on the U.S. response to the Iranian proxy attack that killed 3 American soldiers, he said, "The first thing you see won't be the last." So pretty strong words there from John Kirby. Again, just words. We'll see what the actions are. But he said the first thing you see won't be the last. And again, the U.S. is planning some kind of weeks-long campaign against Iran and proxy forces. Now, a lot of people have been contacting me and saying that, it's been taking so long for them to respond, and they think that there's not going to be a response or it's going to be very weak. My whole thing is we'll see. Let's see what happens. Okay, we don't know. In this situation, Biden may act to preserve his poll numbers, because this is a clear situation where the U.S. has to respond because 3 American troops were killed in a neutral country, in Jordan of all places. So if Biden doesn't respond adequately, that's going to really harm him in the election this fall. Okay, so logically, you would think, like I said, that he's going to respond forcefully and seriously. And it's possible that the reason why we haven't seen this massive campaign begin yet is because it's such a massive campaign and there's so many levels to it that it's taking them time to prepare for it, even though they do have O plans. Like I was saying yesterday, that the U.S. military has O plans for every part of the country, every part of the world. So if there's a contingency, we already have all the targeting information and we can just immediately, within a short amount of time, launch, different types of strikes, or we have different military options for all parts of the world, the Middle East, the Korean Peninsula, Taiwan, Europe, everything. We have plans for everything and they're constantly updated. But maybe in this situation, the Biden administration wants to take a custom route, and rather than picking from some of the existing plans that are already in place, maybe they want to make a new custom plan and kind of cherry pick from different plans and make a new one for this particular situation, because it is kind of a unique situation. So that's my guess is why it's taking longer, is because they need to get everything in position, okay, and work everything out, plan everything out before they launch this massive campaign that's going to be weeks long. Okay, so let's see what happens, guys. Like I said, I'm going to be covering it. And here's a picture showing the location of where some of these drones were taken out in Western Yemen earlier. Okay. And I just want to show you guys a video. If you've never seen a phalanx close-in weapon system before, there's a lot of videos on YouTube and different places you can see, but I'll just show you. So you have a chain gun. Okay, the chain gun prevents the machine gun from jamming. Okay, chain guns work differently than a traditional machine gun. They have a gear that turns a chain, and that makes sure that you basically have jam-free operation of the machine gun. So in a situation where you don't have somebody that can stand there to clear a jam, you use a chain gun. So like fighter jets, something like this, or also on tanks and armored vehicles, they use chain guns because it's not practical to have to clear a jam if you have a cruise missile flying at you 500 miles an hour. So this is a chain gun, and it uses, I forget the exact cartridge, but it's like a 25 millimeter, some monster cartridge that makes a 50 BMG look like a 22, basically. Just absolutely monstrous, and it can shoot like hundreds of rounds a second. So I'll just show you how powerful this system is. But if we have to use one of these on our warship, it means that something got really close. And so, it's possible that this cruise missile maybe evaded our, some of our medium range radars, and then this short range system picked it up, okay, and responded automatically. So literally in like 5 seconds, it just shot probably like 1,000 rounds. And this thing can move in any direction, up and down, left and right. It can lock onto any moving target. Let's just see that again. That's just pretty impressive firepower. So we had to use one of these to shoot down that cruise missile. Eddie Hallner, thank you for the donation. I hope you're doing well. And Paleo Greenbird, thank you for the donation. It seems the government is doing everything possible to break down our country in preparation for a new world order. It's hard not to see if you are watching, hard to tell how to invest for the future. Yes, there's always been an agenda. There's always been an agenda to destroy the United States. The communists wanted to do it. The New World Order wants to do it because everybody knows the America is the last line of defense against freedom. And if America is lost, then freedom is lost around the world. America is the only thing standing up for freedom in the world. Okay. Just like Ronald Reagan said that America is the beacon of freedom around the world. And if we lose it here, then it's lost everywhere. Okay, so they always wanted to destroy America, infiltrate us, change our politics around, change us from the inside, and then also attack us externally, because once America's weak, then all the forces of evil, the enemies of freedom around the world, they can expand their spheres of influence. So someone says they need the phalanx on their truck. That's funny. Do I still think we will strike inside Iran? Yes, I think it's very possible. I do. I think it's possible that what we could see here is this could be, like I said many times before, the justification that the U.S. needs to launch a full-scale strike on Iran to denuclearize it, to demilitarize it. Okay, the U.S. and Israel have wanted to strike Iran for many, many years to take out their nuclear weapons. Okay, Iran has also tripled their uranium production. So it's not only that Iran is funding all these groups, that are, targeting commercial ships, targeting our warships, targeting, whatever, all of our interests. They're targeting our bases. Now they're also tripling their uranium production. Okay, so that's not a good thing. The IAEA said that Iran already has enough nuclear material to make several nuclear warheads. Okay, and Israel has said repeatedly they will not allow Iran to get a nuclear weapon. So if we don't do something about Iran, Israel will do something about Iran. And believe me, Israel has the firepower to do it. Okay, Israel has several hundred Jericho missiles, which can actually reach Moscow, and they have some type of unknown nuclear warhead on them. So Israel does have nuclear weapons. They also have fighter jets. They also have all kinds of missiles they can bring to bear if they have to go after Iran and take out their nuclear facilities. But Israel obviously doesn't want to do that now. And if they do it, they want to have the U.S. to back them up, obviously. So it could be the justification that the U.S. needs to go after Iran now, because now we can justify not only that Iran is a danger to the world with their nukes, but they're also a danger to all the countries in the Middle East, including the U.S. and Israel, because all their proxies are attacking us. So it could morph into a larger strike on Iran, basically, rather than just specifically targeting the proxies. They could just decide, you know what, we might as well just go for the head of the snake, rather than just trying to cut the tail off, or cut the limbs off. You might as well just, go for the head of the snake. So that's what I'm thinking, is it might morph into that. Congress already passed a resolution last year that said that the U.S. will not allow Iran to get nuclear weapons under any means necessary, that the U.S. would use any means necessary to stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. And the resolution also said that they would support any U.S. ally that would take action against Iran as well, meaning Israel. So we also have some breaking news coming in from Taiwan. Apparently, yesterday and today, 33 Chinese aircraft and 6 Chinese naval vessels were operating around Taiwan. Okay, 33 Chinese military aircraft. That's a lot. And 6 Chinese naval vessels. 14 of the aircraft crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait and entered Taiwan's southwestern ADIZ, that's their Air Defense Identification Zone. So, the situation in Taiwan is very tense. China said that they're going to permanently deploy 4 naval warships around Taiwan. Okay, so China is permanently deploying 4 warships around Taiwan. And also yesterday, Taiwan completed a mine laying exercise around Taiwan. Okay, I don't think that's an exercise. I think that they were actually laying mines in the waters off the coast of Taiwan because they're anticipating Chinese landing vessels, okay, amphibious landing vessels that are going to try to land on Taiwan and make a ground invasion. Okay, so Taiwan has already started to lay mines around their island. Okay, and they also practiced various things earlier today that they were practicing, taking back a base that was seized by the Chinese, some kind of coastal base that the Chinese took. That was the scenario. And they were practicing assaulting it and taking it back. So Taiwan is definitely preparing for an escalation. And we could see that this year. We could see it very soon because all these countries know that we're weak. They know that Biden is scared. He's not responding. So they know that now's their opportunity. Now's the opportunity to strike before Trump gets in or some Republican that actually, has fortitude to do something. So I want to just update you on this air base in Crimea that was hit by Ukraine. So apparently Ukraine hit the Belbek air base in Crimea last night. And apparently Ukraine targeted the headquarters and the pilot and crew quarters. Okay, so Ukraine targeting Crimea last night. Russia said they view NATO as a threat and are taking measures to deal with it. The Kremlin said on Wednesday when asked about the alliance's large-scale military drills, some 90,000 troops will take part in the NATO military alliance's Steadfast Defender exercise, the biggest since the 1988 Reforger drill during the Cold War. Of course, it is a threat to us. That is how we treat it, and we are constantly taking appropriate measures to deal with it, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said. The alliance has been moving its military infrastructure towards our borders for several decades without ceasing, he told reporters when asked about the drills. The exercises, which began last week, are designed to simulate NATO's response to an attack from a rival like Russia and will involve some 50 naval vessels. They will be composed of a series of smaller individual drills and will span from North America to NATO's eastern flank close to the Russian border. Okay, so Russia is concerned about this exercise. They're taking appropriate measures, according to Dmitry Peskov. And the president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, will be firing his top general, Valery Zaluzny, next week. This is being reported by CNN, citing unnamed sources. Apparently, he will be officially dismissed early next week. Okay. And the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, said that Biden's national security proposal that combines aid for Ukraine with border policy reform would likely be split in half. So they're going to have a separate bill for the border and a separate bill for Ukraine. So very interesting. And Russian forces targeted the village of Veliki in the Kupiansk region of Kharkiv on January 31st, which is today, with guided aerial munitions, damaging a civilian hospital. No casualties were reported. And Armenia has formally joined the International Criminal Court today, months after ratifying the court's Rome Statute. So Armenia is now part of the International Criminal Court, which is basically a stab in the back to Russia. Russia was propping up Armenia for many years They had their peacekeepers there. So big loss for Russia there. And 9 people, including children and police officers, were taken to a hospital in London after an acid attack. That's absolutely insane. Absolutely crazy times we're living in, guys. And I want to just share some footage coming out of France with these farmers. We have these angry farmers, and they've surrounded Paris. And you can see here, this is actually in Brussels. This is the headquarters of the EU. And they've put up this barbed wire and obstacles around the headquarters of the EU because they're expecting these angry farmers to storm the EU headquarters in Brussels. This is absolutely insane. Look at that, guys. Look at this fencing there. So these farmers are really getting serious now. This is a very serious situation with these farmers. Let me show you some more footage of these farmers here. I believe this was in Brussels today. You can see this line of tractors in Brussels, right outside of the EU headquarters in Brussels. Okay. So things are about to pop off in Brussels, in Paris. They're blockading all the highways going into Paris now. France has deployed 15,000 police officers and armored vehicles to prevent these farmers from going into downtown Paris and causing chaos, but they've already blocked off every single highway going into Paris, guys. Okay? So very serious situation there in France. Here's a picture. You can see the French police here with their armored vehicles. And then here you can see the farmers with their tractors. Okay. So very tense situation over there in France and in Western Europe. Yeah, that's right, Catskill Prepper. They are not backing down. It's really admirable what the farmers are doing in France. It's really awesome to see. Actually, I mean, we should do that here. I guess they finally got fed up with all the BS over there in Europe. I want to just kind of recap some of the news from earlier if you didn't see my updates. So NBC reported earlier, citing U.S. officials, that the U.S. retaliation against Iranian proxies and Iran will be a campaign that could last weeks and involve strikes in multiple locations and multiple countries. And it will also include cyber operations. So multiple locations, multiple countries, and it's going to be a campaign that's going to last for weeks. Okay, so to me, that sounds like a war. I mean, it sounds like a full-scale war, which is just what the Biden administration needs, to potentially cancel the election, delay it, whatever. I mean, just think about it. If we have a massive war with Iran right before the election, they could delay the election, So Iran's representative to the UN, Saeed Iravani, has stated yesterday that any attack by the U.S. or other foreign power against Iranian nationals, Iranian interests, or territories will be met with a decisive and strong response. Okay, so Iran is vowing a decisive and strong response if any of their assets, any of their people, or their territories are attacked by the U.S. And the U.S. already sent a warning out through back channels to Iran saying, don't respond if we attack you, don't respond. Iran responded back through the same back channel saying, we will respond. So it's looking like escalation is imminent. There's so many things that Iran can do. Okay, once we go after Iran, once we attack Iran, there's so many things they can do. They can launch a massive cyber attack on our country. They can go after the oil fields in Saudi Arabia. So there's a lot of things that they can do. And if the Biden administration screws this up, if they do anything less than a full-scale strike on Iran, meaning that we have to take out all their missile launchers, we have to take out all their naval ships, we have to take out all their airstrips, we have to take out anything that would pose a threat to us if they were to retaliate, okay? Because otherwise they're going to go after our oil. They're going to go after oil tankers in the Middle East. They're going to seize oil tankers. They're going to, attack oil fields in Saudi Arabia. They're going to launch cyber attacks on our country and in Europe and Israel. They also have a lot of sleeper cells in this country that they can use. Okay. Tons and tons of sleeper agents that they can activate, and they could, take out our grid. They could, drive a truck into a power line and take down the power to an entire part of the country. I mean, there's so many things. There's so many things that that they can do. So just get prepared, guys. Things are really spiraling out of control around the world. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure you have your bug out bag packed and ready to go, depending on where you live and what your situation is. Your bug out bag has to be different. There's no specific way to set up a bug out bag. It depends on where you live and your terrain, the climate, how far you have to go, things like that. But make sure you have a bug out bag. Make sure you have everything you need, because things could really spiral out of control once this war kicks off with Iran, because that's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to go to war with Iran. That's why they're delaying it, to be honest, and that's why they're saying it's going to be a campaign that's going to last weeks. So, to me, it's clear, but we'll have to wait and see. Putin said today that the Russian plane that crashed near the border with Ukraine was shot down by the American Patriot air defense system. Putin also said that Russian forces have made a breakthrough in Ukraine's in Avdiivka, which is part of Ukraine. That's a small village in Ukraine considered to be very important. So very interesting. And we have the primary military commander of the Iranian IRGC militia apparently has fled eastern Syria and is now in Iran. I guess he's afraid that we're going to take him out in a strike. So the main military commander of the IRGC has fled to Iran. We're hearing of unprecedented security in eastern Syria and a state of panic among the ranks of the Iranian proxies in eastern Syria, anticipating potential U.S. airstrikes. So that's pretty interesting. And the Iraqi prime minister held a 4-hour meeting with the commander of the IRGC Quds Force on Sunday. Okay, very interesting. And RT, Russia Television, or Russia Today, is reporting that Hamas is preparing to launch a new attack against Israel. And Hezbollah has massively intensified their military operations against Israel today. They targeted a building where Israeli soldiers were hiding. So some kind of base they hit. That's definitely an escalation. And there was a dangerous object found and destroyed at the Israeli embassy in Sweden today. So that's not a good sign. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Ethiopia, Iran, and Egypt have officially joined BRICS. Okay, so that's not a good sign. And see here. The Ukrainian army is claiming to have hit a major Russian airbase in Crimea, the Belbek airfield. Apparently, they hit the airfield with multiple missiles or drones last night. Russia's claiming they shot down 17 out of 20 missiles over the Black Sea and 3 over Crimea. Very interesting. So Ukraine is continuing to go after Russia far behind the front lines. And the Ukrainian military intelligence claims that there was a cyber attack carried out against the Russian Ministry of Defense. Poland's Minister of Defense signed an agreement with the Minister of Defense of the Netherlands and the Minister of Defense of Germany with regards to troop movements through their territories. The Dutch Defense Minister Ollongren revealed that her country had signed a declaration with Germany and Poland regarding the establishment of a military corridor to secure the movement and transfer of troops and military equipment between these countries in case of a major military escalation. So, very interesting. Germany, the Netherlands, and Poland signing an agreement for troop movements. That's another red flag that we're getting ready for some kind of a war with Russia. We have this massive exercise that kicked off earlier this week with 90,000 NATO troops. 90,000 troops, guys. That is just a massive amount of troops. Okay, largest exercise since 1988. And now we have this agreement between Germany, Poland, and the Netherlands to move equipment. And you know why it's those 3 countries? Because there's a lot of ports in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, you have Rotterdam, and you also have in Germany Bremerhaven. There's a lot of critical ports in the Netherlands, specifically Rotterdam. Rotterdam, I think, is like the busiest port in Europe. And then you have like Bremerhaven, and then there's like another one up there in Germany. But the Netherlands and Germany have critical ports. And so if there was an escalation with Russia, if there was a war with Russia, and the U.S. had to bring equipment across the Atlantic, they would go to the port of Rotterdam, most likely, or Bremerhaven, and then they would start unloading tanks, hundreds and hundreds of tanks and stuff. And so they need to have an agreement in place if that were to happen, that basically, these 3 countries have an agreement that they can move military forces between their countries without having to deal with any kind of, like red tape, I guess you could say. So it provides for smoother movement of equipment, military equipment in a crisis, okay? So if, let's say, there was a crisis in the Baltics or in Poland, and NATO had to move equipment into Poland to reinforce Poland or Lithuania or whatever, the Baltics, they would have to come in. America would bring, let's say, 500 tanks to the Netherlands, to Rotterdam, and then they would move by land through Germany and then into Poland, okay? And then from Poland, they could go up to the Baltics or wherever, okay? So this is a huge sign that things are escalating, and, massive exercise by NATO going on right now. It's going to last for months. So get prepared, guys. It's possible Putin may make his big move on Europe this year. He may go after the Baltics this year. I'm very concerned about that. Okay, he has a history of doing that before major presidential elections. When he actually invaded Georgia, that was in 2008. In August of 2008, Putin invaded Georgia, or Russia invaded Georgia under Putin's command. And that was right towards the end of Bush Jr.'s term, okay? Bush Jr. was on the end of his second term, and we had an election with Obama and McCain. And I think Putin was nervous that, let's say like Bush was predictable. He knew what to expect from Bush because he worked with Bush for 8 years already. So he knew what to expect from Bush. But with Obama and McCain, he was unsure what they were going to do as presidents, how they were going to react. Are they going to be tough? Are they going to be weak? So he basically invaded Georgia right before towards the end of Bush's term, because he was afraid that if he did it, let's say when McCain or Obama would be president, maybe the response would be different, and I think that could happen now because now Putin knows that, Biden is weak. He's not really doing much. He didn't really do much to punish Russia after they invaded Ukraine. So for him, Biden is predictable. And if, let's say, Trump or someone else gets, the presidency, who knows how that person's going to respond. So he may decide to just make his big move on Europe this year, before Biden gets out of office. We'll see. So the Pentagon is increasing the number of attack drones to use to swarm Chinese forces during a potential Chinese invasion of Taiwan, which would buy the U.S. time to bring in reinforcements. This was stated by USNI News. Okay, so I guess that's one of the strategies we're going to use is we're going to use naval drones to swarm Chinese forces when they come across the Taiwan Strait to try to invade Taiwan. And that would buy us time to bring our Navy in from, wherever they are, Okinawa. We have 2 carrier strike groups in the region, or maybe 3 now. So that's pretty interesting. And FBI Director Wray told a U.S. House committee today that China has a bigger hacking program than that of every major nation combined. Wow. And the FBI says that it has taken down a large botnet of malware installed by Chinese hackers on hundreds of routers inside the U.S. in an effort to get access to infrastructure. The FBI says it used search and seizure warrants to remotely delete the malware without notifying device owners. So that is just absolutely crazy, guys. Massive botnet installed by China in multiple routers across the country. That's not a good sign. Okay, that's really really bad. And that comes just about a month or two after the U.S. Director of National Intelligence said that China has installed backdoors in all of our critical infrastructure. Okay. Backdoor is basically, a remote access. They can access various computers that control our critical infrastructure, and they can access those computers and just shut things down, mess things up as they need. They can access, let's say, a remote a terminal at an oil pipeline, like that natural gas pipeline in Oklahoma the other day that went up in flames. Okay, that could have been the work of Chinese hackers. They could have gained access to the controls for that pipeline, and they could have opened some valve, or they could have overloaded a circuit or done something. So we need to be on high alert, guys, because at any time there could be a massive cyber attack that could just shut down, half our country. Okay, they can do it. They can do it. Believe me. It's just they haven't decided to do it yet. But if things escalate, especially in Taiwan, China's going to do that. They're going to, shut down part of our power grid. They're going to mess up our pipelines, our infrastructure, our electricity. So get prepared, okay? Critical infrastructure should not be connected to the internet. Yep, I totally agree. but that's just the way they do it now because they have so many different systems they have to monitor, and it's just difficult to have people going around and monitoring everything. And plus these companies, they're all about profit, profit, profit. So for them to hire people to physically go in the field and check things, it's a lot more expensive. um, so that's why they have these critical infrastructure hooked up to the internet. Um, so what you're looking at on the screen here is all of the U.S. Naval assets in the world, and you can see we have the Teddy Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group in the South China Sea right now. That's pretty interesting. And there's also the Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group in the South China Sea. And then we also have the Reagan Carrier Strike Group in Japan. So we actually have 3 carrier strike groups in the Asia area. Actually, 2 of them are right next to Taiwan. You see Taiwan here? It's kind of hard to see. Let me zoom in. So we have the Teddy Roosevelt and the Carl Vinson not too far from Taiwan, guys. Okay, why would we position 2 carrier strike groups right off the coast of Taiwan if nothing was going to happen? Okay, there's obviously a real risk there. So we moved 2 strike groups. Looks like maybe just 200 miles max from Taiwan now. And the one of them, the Teddy Roosevelt, was supposed to stay in San Diego for several months for repairs and maintenance, and they decided to, spontaneously deploy it to the Western Pacific. And it's interesting that they deployed it to Taiwan. So this tells me that our military and our government is very concerned about something going on in Taiwan. If we have 2 carriers there, plus the whole carrier strike group, which includes multiple warships, multiple submarines, dozens and dozens of fighter jets. Okay. So very concerning, guys. And then we have the Reagan carrier strike group in Japan near South Korea. So get prepared, guys. Okay. We could be in the middle of a nuclear war any day. That's the time we're living in right now. You could wake up tomorrow and the power could be out. China could shut down our infrastructure. I mean, you just don't know what tomorrow brings. This world is just so unpredictable now. What's going on, Salt and Prepper? How's it going? Aldo, Ross Snyderman, Lissa Lou, Rodney Middleton. Why has the USS Eisenhower not moved? Are they not using it for their attack? The Eisenhower, it's still in the Red Sea. They may not need to use the Eisenhower necessarily because they moved B-52s. I mean, we have so much firepower in the Middle East. We don't really need the Eisenhower necessarily. We have tons and tons we have a base in Turkey where we have bombers and fighter jets. We have a base in Diego Garcia that probably has some B-2 stealth bombers on it. We have multiple bases in Saudi Arabia and Qatar. We have bases in Israel. I'm probably missing, Kuwait, Iraq. I mean, we have bases all over the Middle East. So, it's not like we really need the Eisenhower to do this operation. Plus the Eisenhower still not super far from Iran, but they don't want to keep the Eisenhower right next to Iran because then Iran could target the Eisenhower with their missiles. They want to keep it far enough away where they're further away from those Iranian missiles. But this could go sideways. What happens if during this massive campaign they sink one of our ships? It's very possible because as soon as Iran comes under attack, they're going to launch everything they have, because they know that if they don't launch everything they have, it's going to get destroyed by our forces. So they're going to launch everything they have at our Navy. So this could really escalate, guys. Okay. And Iran has already said that they're going to respond even if there's no strikes inside of Iran. So at this point, there's nothing to lose for the U.S. to just strike Iran directly, because Iran has already said it doesn't matter if you strike in our country or out of our country, we're still going to respond the same way. If you target any of our nationals, any of our equipment, any of our territories, doesn't matter where it is, we're going to respond. So at this point, the U.S. has nothing to lose by just going directly after Iran. And I think that's why they're delaying. I don't think they're delaying because they're incompetent or weak. I think that this is going to be a large campaign, and that's why they're taking their time, because they have to plan it out and get everything into position first. So when this kicks off, I'm going to go live 24/7, guys. Okay, so make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon below so you get notified when I go live. But when this kicks off, I will be doing 24/7 coverage. Okay, because this could be historic. If it's going to be a weeks long campaign, I mean, just think about that. Weeks long campaign. Okay. Shock and awe was like 3 days. They're talking about a campaign that's several weeks long. That means they're going to be targeting probably hundreds and hundreds of targets. If it takes that long, they're going to have to constantly do sorties with bombers and fighter jets, and they have to go back and forth and refuel, because they're going to be traveling hundreds and hundreds of miles between each bombing run. They, let's say, have to go 1,000 miles each way. So it's going to take like a lot of sorties. Let's say one fighter jet has to go 500 or 1,000 miles, drop its ordnance, turn around and come back, and then do the same thing over. That takes time. It's not going to be all in one day. So that's a red flag to me. I know a lot of people think that nothing's going to happen, that we're going to shoot one missile and that's it. We'll have to wait and see. That's all I have to say. But I think that they're going to do something pretty serious, simply because of also Biden's poll numbers. And at this point, Biden basically knows that the American people are looking for a response, and they know that Americans are going to be pissed if we don't do anything. So Biden's not stupid. He will preserve his presidency. Light Source Engraving, what's going on? God's Soldiers Watchmen, how's it going? Thanks for showing up. Alan says I'm 4 miles from New York City. So, let's see, do I have any other breaking news? So yeah, that's basically all the latest breaking news here. So we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see how things play out. Kingdom Daughter, thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Have a good night. What's going on, New York Adventurer? So this is the live flight tracker. So you can see here, looks like that Doomsday plane landed in Dyess Air Force Base, which is very interesting. And yesterday we had a Doomsday plane go from Offutt Air Base to Dyess Air Force Base. Dyess Air Force Base is a bomber base. It's one of our main bomber bases in the country, in Abilene, Texas. Also a major nuclear war target. But it's interesting that we had the Doomsday plane go to Dyess Air Force Base yesterday and land there, and then this one today appears to have taken off from Dyess Air Force Base, and then it got aerially refueled, and then it looks like it might have landed in Dyess Air Force Base. So that's pretty weird for there to be a Doomsday plane at a bomber base. Not sure what's going on there, but this is the situation right now. And let's see, I'm going to just set up the the screen here so you can check out multiple things at once. But when this all kicks off, I'll definitely be streaming 24/7. So you can definitely count on me to provide you coverage that the mainstream media is not going to provide, because they're just going to tell you what makes you feel good rather than the truth. And the border situation is quiet for now. So we'll see what happens with that. But the border situation is quiet right now. I think Biden's going to be focusing on the Middle East at the moment with this massive war that's going to kick off. So that's going to distract everyone's attention away from the border, because everyone's going to be focusing now on Iran, and it kind of puts the attention away, moves the attention away from the border and brings it to Iran. We have to take out the proxies. They're killing our troops. You see how that makes Biden look like the hero in that situation? So, just saying. JA, how's it going, JA? Thank you so much for the donation. Biden administration wasting missiles to shoot down drones is war of attrition, and the American people are being played. That's exactly right. Yeah, it's a war of attrition, and we're losing the war of attrition. That's exactly right. Yep. Twitter just released the USS Gravely was just hit by Yemen. Interesting. I'll have to take a look. So I have a camera from Africa on the lower left. We have a lodge in Uganda, and it's a really cool camera. It points towards a watering hole. And yesterday or last night, there was all kinds of different animals coming here. I saw giraffes, elephants, crocs, Cape buffalo, everything. The only thing I didn't see was lions, but we'll keep this camera up during the stream so we have something interesting to look at. So it's just like this pond basically at some kind of safari lodge, and they have this camera overlooking the pond. There's probably like 100 crocs in this little pond right here. But see, I'm going to check my Twitter to see what's going on with that. Somebody said that the Gravely was hit. We also had some type of a building collapse at the Boise airport. Over a dozen victims due to some kind of building collapse at the Boise airport. An Iraqi official stated that apparently several of the Iranian proxies have already begun to evacuate their bases inside of Iraq and Syria. So very interesting, because they're anticipating this large scale campaign. So I think it's going to be a pretty serious campaign. I think that's why it's taking so long. Uh, Somebody said that the Gravely was hit today. That the Gravely was actually hit. I cannot confirm that, but somebody in the chat said that the USS Gravely was hit. So we'll have to wait and see if that's true or not. Thank you, Ken Jackson. I appreciate it. USMC Devil Dog says they're scared. Apparently, they don't want to be murdered and martyred. Yeah, exactly. That's right. It's going to be absolutely insane when this all kicks off. For some reason, my video here is buffering from this safari lodge. It's kind of annoying. Sun is just coming up, so we should see some wildlife coming out. And I'm going to set up another camera. I'm just trying to figure out where to set the other camera up. I'm thinking maybe I should do like Brussels or something now with all the farmers going over there. It might be worth to keep an eye on Brussels. I can't get any cameras from the Middle East, like Iran and all those countries. You can't get any cameras there. Kent Reader, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Thanks, Greg, for all your hard work. God bless you. Thanks to all your mods, too. Thank you, Kent. I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. God bless you. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. It's the middle of the week, hump day. So happy hump day. The demon rats have changed this country for the worst, and rhinos stood by and watched and did nothing. Yeah, it's true. It's very true. I did not watch Leave the World Behind, and I don't know if I will watch it, honestly. If it was made by the Obamas, I don't know if I want to watch it. But I'll probably end up watching it. I just haven't had time. I've been so busy the last 4 days. I've been doing nothing but live streaming every night, so I just haven't had a chance. But I'm going to try to check it out in the coming days for sure. So yeah, the situation with the USS Gravely, that's old news. I covered that yesterday and in my update earlier. The USS Gravely was not actually hit by the missile. It shot the missile down, and that happened yesterday. So it wasn't actually hit, but it was yesterday. So yeah, that's already a day old. That's nothing new, but thanks for letting me know. I appreciate it. Vita Kipping, thank you for gifting 10 memberships. Really appreciate it. Hope you're having a good hump day. Yeah, I'll check out the Leave the World Behind. I'll check it out. It's kind of lame, but it has psyops in it. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to get too focused on that too, because that could be a way of throwing you off. They may want you to think of that. Oh, this is how it's going to happen. Don't play into it. Don't do what they want. They want you to watch the movie and then think, oh yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. And it may not happen that way. It may happen a totally different way. So don't play into it. I didn't see the video of the guy who ranted about America and Biden. But honestly, it smells fishy. Um, it could be a MK Ultra agent. Um, you know what MK Ultra is? The mind control experiments that the CIA did like 50 years ago. They they took people and they tried to wipe their memory out and make them believe that they're someone else, so they could basically create like brainwashed agents that will just do whatever they say. And so that could have been an MK Ultra agent. I mean, who knows? We don't know. I mean, that could all be staged. I mean, why would, of all things, he suddenly blames Biden? I mean, it just seems kind of weird to me. It could have just been a staged event, to be honest. To make anyone that's against Biden look like there's some kind of nut job, and you have to side with Biden or you're a nut job. You're a conservative nut job. You know, they tried to do that in the 90s. In the 90s and the early 2000s, they tried to make conservatives and gun owners look like they were, some kind of anti-government militias that were trying to overthrow the government. It's really messed up. So yeah, you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. But no, I didn't actually see the video. Um, Looks like that RC-135 over South Korea. It's flying somewhere here in the near off the coast of North Korea with its transponder off. It's pretty interesting. And that combat scent plane still hasn't reappeared. Still flying with no transponder. Now preppers are not crazy. Yeah, what's funny is right before the lockdowns and during the lockdowns, everybody wanted to become a prepper. Nobody was a prepper before the lockdowns, and then suddenly everybody was buying ammo and buying food, and they were hoarding it and stuff. But I think that kind of subsided now, and I think the average Joe is just too lazy to prepare. Just most people in general, they feel there's no need to prepare. They think nothing will ever happen. There's never going to be a war with Russia. There's never going to be a power outage. There's never going to be a cyber attack. That's what most people think. Most people, they think, oh, that'll never happen. That it hasn't happened before, so why would it happen now? That's just the prevailing thought amongst many people. Um, you know, but yeah, suddenly after COVID, everybody wanted to be a prepper. Had all these prepper channels popping up on YouTube left and right. Suddenly everybody was a prepper. Do I think people have become so lazy and distracted in TV and phones, such as social media? Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I think it's always been that way. I think it's just human nature. People, they don't want to be the oddball. It's just human nature. You want to be like everybody else. You don't want to be different. You don't want to stand out. I mean, some people like to stand out, but human nature in general, you don't want to be the oddball. Nobody wants to be that guy. They're afraid of what people will think, or just many people, they don't have money or they don't have time, and they just feel like it's a waste of effort. It's a waste of time and money to prep. I get it. Everybody's busy. Everybody has tight budgets. But just doing small things to prepare. You don't have to, you know, go out and spend thousands of dollars on food. Small things can help. Just start with a few weeks of spare food in your house. I mean, even if you have 1 month of spare food in your house, that's going to put you above like 90% of Americans. Just 1 month of food, and that doesn't cost a lot. You can buy like a 3 month emergency food supply from my sponsor, My Patriot Supply, for $600. They're running a 25% deal right now. You can get 3 months of emergency food for $600. Okay. Is it going to taste the best? No. Is it going to taste like a meal at a 5-star restaurant? No. Is it going to taste like a fresh steak that you cook on the barbecue in the summer? No. But you're going to survive, and you'll get basic nutrients that you need. And just with that, you're going to be 90% ahead of the population. Most people don't have more than 2 weeks of food in their house. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Most people don't have a way to start a fire in their house. People don't even carry fire starting kits anymore. People don't even have proper winter clothing anymore because everybody wants to look fashionable. They want to have that name brand. They want to show off that they have money. People don't even have proper winter clothing. What would happen if we had a power outage right now in the middle of winter? Half of Americans would freeze because they don't have appropriate winter clothing, because they spend money on name brand fashion items so they can show off how much money they have, versus actual practical clothing to keep you warm. I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but that's just the truth. Ask your friends at work, or people ask them how many people have a pair of snowshoes, how many people have proper winter boots. Most people don't have that. Renee says buy a few extra cans of food every time you go grocery shopping, and before you know it, you'll have a full cabinet. Exactly, that's right. Yeah, canned goods are good. Yeah, canned food is good. It's just the canned food doesn't last as long, but the canned food, the advantage that it has over freeze dried food is that canned food, you can open it immediately and eat it right away. But like freeze dried food, it has certain advantages over canned food. Like freeze dried food is lightweight. It's not heavy, because canned food, you still have all the juices and the liquid in there. So, if you have like a month of canned food versus a month of freeze dried food, the month of canned food is going to weigh a lot more, and it's going to take up a lot more space, versus freeze dried food is lightweight. I mean, you can have like a few months of food in literally like one tote. You can squeeze it all into like, maybe not one tote, but like 2 or 3 totes that you can throw in your vehicle and drive away and still have a month's worth of food, 2, 3 months worth of food in your vehicle. As long as you have a way of rehydrating it and warming it up, you're good to go. So, yeah, canned food is good. A combination of cans and freeze dried food is my recommendation. Um, but yeah, canned food is good. Yeah, water, very critical. Uh, Water is very critical. You need to have at least a good amount of water on hand, and then you need to have a source of water that you can replenish from. So whether it's rainwater catchment, or you know uh, some stream or lake nearby, you want to have a way of replenishing your water. So My camera here from Africa is buffering. It's really annoying. Oh, here we go. Now it's working. So keep your eye out on the camera here. You might see a giraffe or Cape buffalo soon. It's 7:15 in the morning in Uganda right now. What's going on, Mud and Munitions? Hope you're doing well. Man, I want to go to Africa so bad. Africa is just amazing. Amazing place. My guess is we have a lot of planes flying with their transponders off right now over the US because it's so quiet. Chris Peterson, Greg, did the group responsible for launching the ATT-ACK on our base in Jordan surrender? No, I don't think they surrendered. They just said that they were going to stop launching strikes on U.S. bases, but I don't think they surrendered. They just said that they were going to supposedly stop. So Michael says AR-10. Yeah, AR-10 is the best. Yeah, I Skulls, I guess Skulls, yeah, AR-10 100%. If you're a prepper and you're looking for you're trying to figure out which one, I would go with AR-10 any day of the week. Hands down, AR-10 is superior in basically every way, except that the ammunition is heavier. We had a discussion about that yesterday with some people here. People were saying, oh, I can carry 10 mags of AR-15 versus 5 mags of AR-10 and it's going to weigh the same. That's true, but do you really need 10 mags? Do you really need 10 mags? And also, the AR-10, I'm assuming you're talking about 308 or 6.5. If you're going to get an AR-10 for general purpose use, go with 308. Don't get a 6.5 unless you're going to go for long range. You're going to make a dedicated long range rig. Go with an AR-10 and just 308. I have two AR-10s and I can shoot them out to 800 yards all day long with reasonable accuracy. I can put groups inside of a pie plate at 700 to 800 yards with even a 16-inch barrel AR-10. I can do that with just standard M80 ball. So, don't buy into all the hype about, oh, you got to get a 6.5 Creedmoor because a 308 is slow and heavy and it doesn't have good ballistics coefficient. You need the latest and greatest bullets. Bullshit, okay? Wars have been fought with 308 for decades. And as far as I know, there hasn't been a single war fought with 6.5 Creedmoor yet. Okay, so the 308 has proven itself in multiple conflicts at multiple ranges. So just go with the AR-10 308. That's my recommendation. I have one. I would keep the barrel length between 16 to 20 inches. That's all you need for general purpose use. You don't want to go more than 20, especially if you're going to suppress it, because it's going to get really long and cumbersome and just difficult to carry. So 16 to 20 inches is all you need. We're talking SHTF here. You need something that's not too long and cumbersome. So, that's my recommendation. AR-15 is good to have. Don't get me wrong. But I would personally pick the AR-10 because you're going to get you're going to get twice as much power, over twice as much power with the AR-10. You're going to get twice as much effective range, much better selection of projectiles, especially if you're a hand loader. The 30 caliber is the most popular caliber in North America and arguably in the world. Okay, so you're going to be able to find any kind of bullet that you want, all different kinds of bullet options, especially if you're a hand loader. Much better bullet options than 5.56, but so that's my recommendation. Do that. I'll probably be doing some more videos on that topic. Why I believe the AR-10 is superior. I was going to do some videos on it. It's just I haven't had much time. But 308 is also a NATO round as well. So 308, 5.56 are both NATO rounds. So you're not going to have difficulty scavenging. And in some areas of the country, you'll actually find more 308 than 5.56. Because 308 is one of the most popular hunting cartridges in America. So, you might be able to find 308 at some hunting cabin, but you may not be able to find 5.56, because 5.56 is purpose built for specific things. 308 is used by hunters. It's not just a tactical cartridge. That's my opinion. I know a thing or two about a thing or two when it comes to firearms. I think it's a superior choice. If you could only have one AR and you had the different options, I would go 308 AR-10, simply for all the reasons I mentioned. You get much more effective range, much more penetration, much more power, huge selection of bullets. It's just a no-brainer in my opinion. Yeah, it's a little more expensive. Yeah, there's more recoil. Yeah, it's a little heavier. But, think about it this way. You're not going to need to do double taps or triple taps if you're dealing with a threat. If you have a 308 AR-10, okay? You're not going to have to do 3, 4, 5 taps to put a threat down, okay? Unless you're dealing with a grizzly bear, because a 308 has a ton of energy and one tap is all you need. So that's just something to consider. You're not going to need 3 to 5 taps per threat, maybe 1 or 2. So you can get away with carrying less, okay? Plus, if we're talking about hunting, if you live in North America, there's all different kinds of big game animals that you can opportunistically hunt after SHTF, whether it's white-tailed deer, whether it's elk, whether it's moose, whether it's bear, caribou if you're in Alaska. A 308 will deal with all those. A 5.56, you're going to have difficulty putting down an elk or moose or even a deer. 5.56 is on the light side for a deer. Yeah, it'll take a deer down, but it's not the most humane way to do it, and you're going to have a lot of fragmentation in your meat. So, yes, you got to work on the cardio. Cardio is very important. Cardio is very, very important. Yes, cardio is critical. You have to be able to move around. Just being a well-rounded athlete, in my opinion. Well-rounded. You want to have a good variety of capabilities. You don't want to just only have cardio and have no upper body strength or no lower body strength. We have breaking news coming in. Apparently, U.S. retaliatory strikes will also target Iranian personnel and facilities in Iraq and Syria. So this is coming from CBS News. CBS News is saying that Iranian personnel and facilities inside of Iraq and Syria will be targeted and that there will be a series of strikes, and what was referenced is not part of the overall strike plan. Guys, I'm telling you, they're going to go after Iran. Okay, I know a lot of you guys don't believe me. You think it's not going to happen, and I get it, but it seems like that's what they're going to do. It just seems like it to me. I don't know. It seems like they're going to go all in on this one. So let me see. I'm going to try to get another camera going. See if I can get another camera going. I got the ticker going on the bottom. So if you guys want to check the latest headlines, got the ticker going. Just going to update the ticker for people just showing up. Hey, Mike Subchinsky, how's it going? Thank you for the donation. It's all in the hands of God. For all this, God wins. Amen. I totally agree, Mike. I totally agree. God definitely wins in the end, for sure. Thank you for your donations, Mike. Sorry I am a little late, Greg, but I have been having some pain in my left leg. I have to have it checked out this February 2nd. Wow, sorry to hear that. I'm gonna pray for you, Mike, and everybody out there. If you can pray for Mike Subchinsky, he has pain in his left leg, and he's going to be having a doctor take a look at it. Looks like Friday. So we're gonna keep you in our prayers. Mishan Yuda, thank you for the donation. I hope you're doing well, Mishan. Thank you so much. And Vida Kipping, thank you for donating 10 memberships. Thank you so much. It's hump day, guys. Happy hump day. Middle of the week. So this looks like it's going to be a big operation. That's why I think the U.S. is taking so long. So I wanted to just say thanks to some people that have donated here. Jason Fisk. Thank you, Jason. Central and Wire. Love your content. Thank you, Jason. Mike. Thank you, Mike, for the donation. And Lisa. Thank you. Lisa C. from New York. Thank you, Lisa C. And William Hicks. Thank you for the donation. Peter K. Thank you, Peter K. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the donation. Judy Jarrell. Thank you, Judy. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And Brett E. Brett E. Thank you for the donation, Brett E. God bless. Thank you guys so much. Your donations definitely help. Help me to keep going because I have to support myself somehow. So definitely helps. And I'm going to be probably upgrading some of my streaming equipment soon because I know that a lot of you guys like these live streams. So I'm going to try to get a new computer that's a little bit better for streaming. So I might even do like long duration streams. I know a lot of you guys like that. So I might invest in some more equipment for streaming. Thank you guys for all your support. I appreciate it. And Central New York, I actually went to college in Central New York for 2 years. I went to a forestry school in Central New York. So I basically kind of lived in Central New York for like 2 years. And I have a lot of friends in Central New York that I still keep in touch with. So yeah, I like Central New York. The only thing I don't like about Central New York is that dreary weather. In the winter, there's just no sun at all. It's just constant clouds and darkness. It's so depressing. But the summers are gorgeous. But outside of summer, it's really cloudy and depressing there. But otherwise, the people are awesome. The terrain, I really like the terrain there. Kitty said 3 months ago I had pain in my left leg and I got a cortisone shot and the pain is gone. Brett Ellis, thank you, Brett. I try to do a good job. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you. Most viewers love the multi-screen live news shots. Yeah, I'd like to start doing like 24/7 streams with multiple cameras. It's just I'm running a laptop right now, and it's a pretty fast laptop for normal use, but for streaming like this with multiple cameras, it can get laggy, and it just draws a lot of RAM, and I don't want my laptop to melt down, so I got to get another computer for that. Uh, Steve Will Survive says you need 10 plus mags for zombies, Greg. That's true, unless I line up the zombies and I can shoot through like 3 to 5 zombies with one shot. If I line them up, then I can do that, you know. um, or you take the first one down, and when the first one goes down, the other ones trip and fall, and when they trip and fall, you can get in close and finish them off. Dazed 50, thank you for the donation. And Mike Subchinsky, thank you for donating 5 more memberships. Wow. Thank you so much, and I hope everything goes well on Friday. Keep me updated. Let me know how that goes. Hopefully it goes well. There's going to be a new moon around February 7 to 11. My guess is that's when we're going to make a move. That could be. That could be. That could very well be. Someone said Tehran just got bombed. Somehow I don't believe that. um, Irish Lizard says Jinky. It's Polish for thank you. Thank you, Angela Dunn, for moderating. I appreciate it. Chris Bacon, how's it going? Get an Alienware laptop. I'll look into that. I'll definitely look into that. What I need is a lot of RAM. I need a lot of RAM so I can handle a lot of windows open at the same time and streaming multiple things. I mean, I have a good amount of RAM now, but streaming just makes it a whole lot different. So as far as I know, nothing happened in Iran. As far as I know, it's pretty quiet, I think, in Iran. Trying to find another web camera to set up for the rest of the night. Trying to set up another camera. Trying to find a good one. Thinking like something in Iran. It's just hard to find. See, maybe we can set something up in Russia or Belarus. So the camera in the bottom left is in Africa, in Uganda. It's in Uganda. It's overlooking a lodge. They have a pond there, and all the animals come to drink the water. Probably start seeing a bunch of wildlife soon. Modern Munition says the Houthis just struck the watering hole. That's funny, man. That's funny. Jeremy says Alienware is good, but there's others that are less. I'll take a look. Aldo says, how about Alaska or the Kremlin? Yeah, we could do the Kremlin or Alaska, sure. Mike Subchinsky, thank you for gifting 5 more memberships. Thank you so much. Yeah, we could do Alaska, I guess. The Kremlin. Let me see. See here would be a good one. See here. Have I tried a 303 Lee on-field? No, I have not actually. I have not tried one of them, but they're definitely a good option for hunting. 303 British is a good cartridge, similar to 308. Yeah, I'm looking for cameras in Iran, but there's not many cameras in Iran. What is that flight over Salt Lake City? You might need to refresh. That could be old. That was an aerial refueler that refueled a Doomsday plane earlier in Kansas. It aerially refueled a Doomsday plane. It took off from Salt Lake City and landed in Salt Lake City. KC-135 aerial refueler. Yeah, Mike Subchinsky is the man. He's a big supporter of the channel. Thank you, Mike. 303 British is good for 800 yards. Aldo says I have a Lee Enfield, and I love it. That's awesome. I'm glad. It's a piece of history. Four jets flying low over northern Arizona. Interesting. Let me see. So it looks like this whole situation with Iran now is going to be a huge distraction from. It's going to be a huge distraction from the border situation. Because now everybody's going to be focusing on the board on Iran rather than the border. So that could be all part of Biden's plan. Is distract everybody away from the border and focus on Iran, the next boogeyman. Rachel Bilger, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you. Lily Highlander says, imagine living in Sweden. We are now NATO members. There was someone from northern Sweden last night that was asking about how to protect yourself if you live in Sweden and you don't have capabilities of getting a firearm. It's an interesting conversation. Brits make great guns. The hype on Lee Enfield is real. Fantastically made. I'll definitely have to check it out. Oh yeah, the bears in Alaska. Yeah, we could look at the bears in Alaska. I've looked at them so much. That's why I want to look at something else, and I want to focus on Africa for a little bit because I've looked at those bears in Alaska for so much. So I'm kind of got bored of it a little bit. But I know which one you're talking about. They play the camera over the waterfalls, and they have the bears. I've watched that a lot. Africa is just so different. That's why it's so interesting. So far, no animals there. Look at that water. The water's like glass. Wow. I wonder how many crocs are in there. Imagine going for a swim in that. Taking a dip. It's pretty quiet over the U.S. right now as far as planes go, unless they're flying with their transponders off. Thank you again, Richard. Rachel Bilger. Thank you for the gifted memberships. Thank you so much. Yeah, M1 Garands are very overbuilt. Yeah, M1 Garands are very solid. Yeah, they were built for war, so they have to be very solid. Why is it so quiet? Yeah, I'm just wondering if it's so quiet because because it's the calm before the storm. They're getting everything ready, so transponders are off. They don't want to tip off the enemy. So that could be it. But I do expect this to be a pretty significant response. I know a lot of people think it's it's going to be some tiny little response. I think it's going to be pretty significant. I mean, based on everything we're hearing, it sounds like it's going to be pretty significant. So we're going to find out soon. We're going to find out very soon, and it's going to be a weeks long campaign. So you know. So the situation in the Red Sea is just continuing to get worse and worse. It's not getting any better. It's getting worse. They've targeted the fourth American ship since Sunday. 4 ships since Sunday, and they almost hit the one today. They almost hit it. They had to use the phalanx gun to take it out. So mud and munitions. I hope so. It definitely needs to be something that sends a clear message. Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too. A lot of troops are deploying this week. Yes, they are. A lot of National Guardsmen are going overseas. Yep. Uh, Trunk Monkey says you love the ping of the Springfield M1. Yeah, they are on the heavy side. Yeah, I can't get it for. It's hard to get cameras from Yemen or any of those types of countries because they're basically, there's no freedom there, so they don't allow, cameras and internet, like Iran and Yemen and these places. So looking for different cameras. Hold on. Let's see if we can find something here in the Middle East. It'd be nice to get one in the Middle East. Yeah, that pond looks like it is a breeding ground for malaria. Yeah, for sure. I'm checking for any cameras here. We got some in Baghdad. Yeah, there's just not many cameras in Iran. It sucks, but that's just the way it is. Got something in Baghdad over here. Yeah, it's just not a whole lot of cameras. Not a lot of cameras in that part of the world, unfortunately. Maybe we can get something in the Baltics. Let's get one near the Russian border in Narva. Yeah, let's do that. We'll be able to see the Russians coming into Estonia on on film. Let's just see if there's anything popping up on the flight tracker here. In the Middle East, we have KC-135 just took off from Qatar. Actually, two KC-135s that just took off from Qatar. It's interesting. What do we got over here? We got something over Turkey. Bayraktar. So far, it's pretty quiet right now. Just these two refuelers flying over Saudi Arabia. But we'll see how things play out. What's going on, Duramax News? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Everybody, check out Duramax News. He does live coverage of news. Check him out. John Crump News. How's it going, John Crump? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Don't believe I've seen your channel before. John Crump News. Good to see you. Second Amendment News. Ever vigilant, ever free. That's what his channel says on his banner. Looks like you do firearms news. That's always a good thing. It's always a good thing to keep tabs on. There's like no cameras at all in the Middle East. Just like Israel and Turkey, that's it. It's crazy. Yeah, check out John Crump News. Check him out. He does firearms news, Second Amendment news. African cam is definitely a cool new addition. Thank you. Yeah, it makes it a little more interesting. Changes it up a little. Just something different to look at, something exotic. The sun is just coming up over there, so probably going to see some giraffes and elephants and stuff coming up. I saw elephants on this camera the other day. The elephant was like standing right in front of the camera. It's crazy. Let's see. Katrina, how's it going? Katrina says it's 4 p.m. in NSWOZ. I don't know what that is. NSWOZ. Is that New South Wales? We need a moon live cam. That would be cool. That would be really cool. Mike Subchinsky, thank you again for all your donations. I really appreciate all your support. And keep us posted on your pain that you're getting in your leg. In Australia, I thought so. I thought it was in Australia because it's like 14 hours ahead of here. So it's crazy, the time difference. It's like a whole different world. It's so cool, all the different people that watch me from so many different places. It's just crazy. Trying to find a good camera from somewhere, different camera. It's not much to offer in the Middle East, really. Middle East doesn't have much as far as cameras go, because all those countries, they ban a lot of internet and stuff, except Israel. Basically, everything is just can't find any cameras. Maybe see. I wonder if we could do Brussels. Could see the farmers. But it looks like this is going to kick off any day now, guys. Any day this big operation is going to kick off. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and how crazy it gets. I think maybe I'll get something in, see, like Crimea doesn't really have many because it's under Russian control. Russia has some cameras. So we have 2 aerial refuelers that just crossed over Saudi Arabia, went to the Red Sea. That's pretty interesting. See you later, Mud and Munitions. Thanks for tuning in. I got to catch up on some of your messages on Instagram about the show this weekend. I got to respond to you. I'm going to check your messages on the outdoor show. I should be able to make it. So hopefully I can make it. The DMZ. Oh, that's a good one. I'll see if I can find something there. Let's see. I don't know if there's anything close. There's nothing really close to the DMZ. It's pretty far. There's nothing that would like look over the DMZ. There's actually this camera here that's actually in South Korea, but it's like right next to North Korea. That might be a good camera. Let me see. That's an interesting one. I think on one of those islands that North Korea hit. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's play this one. That's a good one. This is one of the islands that North Korea hit with artillery a few weeks ago. Let me set this up. You can't really see much except the ocean, but it's looking towards North Korea. It's right next to North Korea, basically. It's like a little dock, and it's facing towards North Korea. It's literally like right next to North Korea. The camera is a little dirty. Looks like it needs to be cleaned. Take a rag or something over it. The visibility's not that good. That's the only thing. But it's on Byongyang Island. That's one of the islands where North Korea fired the artillery into, I believe. I think that's the closest I can get to North Korea. There's actually some webcams in China. That's interesting. How's it going, Wasteland Warriors? Stay safe. God bless. Texas convoy has a lot of cameras right now. They just arrived. Oh, wow, really? Did they arrive at Eagle Pass? Where did they arrive at? I'm looking at Eagle Pass right now. It's very quiet there. There's nothing going on in Eagle Pass. Could set up a camera in Ukraine, but looks like Ukraine, they don't have any cameras anymore. They took them all down. Nothing in Crimea either. They took all those cameras down. Maybe I'll get something in the Baltics near the Russian border. So it looks like another quiet night. So far, nothing going on. We have some news coming in from Flagstaff. Apparently, there were at least 5 military aircraft over Flagstaff just a few minutes ago that shook the entire house. Someone's reporting that their house shook because of all the planes that flew over. So that's pretty interesting. Just checking to see if there's any updates here. Any breaking news coming in? Usually Wednesdays are pretty quiet. Wow, apparently in France, farmers blocked the entrances to the Giant casino. In France, they blocked the entrance to some kind of casino. Wow, this is really getting crazy with those farmers in France. It's really a serious situation now. Uh, let's see if I can get a highway camera in France, because they blocked one of the highways with hay bales. They put giant hay bales. Let me see here. The A71. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can get some cameras from Paris or Brussels. Wow, look at all these tractors in Brussels. This is insane. Actually, I don't know if I can show it. It might be copyrighted. Yeah, I don't think I can, but just checking to see if there's any updates from Ukraine about anything. I'm not getting any air raids or anything on my phone. So it doesn't look like Russia's striking Ukraine tonight. I guess that's one good thing. Let's see if I can get a camera from Paris. See the farmers blocking the highways. Let's see this one here. Interesting. In Call of Duty Modern Warfare, there's a map on in the game where you go to Paris to you got to take the Eiffel Tower back from the Russians. Such a classic game. Reds, thank you for the donation, Reds. I hope you're doing well. I'm glad you enjoy my channel. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Thank you very much. Alpine Preparedness, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope everything's going well up there. Hope you're staying warm. We should be seeing some interesting animals showing up on this camera soon. This is in Uganda. Should be seeing some giraffes and stuff coming into the watering hole soon. Looks like they probably come in like midday when they start to get hot. Gets hot in Africa, and they go there to get something to drink. So far, there's no wildlife here by this watering hole. It's unusually quiet right now. Usually quiet. We have a third aerial refueler heading to Saudi Arabia now. Look, heading towards the Red Sea, a third one taking off from Bahrain, heading towards the Red Sea. That could be a sign something may be going down. I don't know what. Maybe they're going to strike the Houthis again. Let's see, I'm checking for webcams from Paris. I want to see these farmers with their tractors. Greg, do they always have a doomsday plane in the air? Usually not, no. Usually not. They don't have a lot of doomsday planes unless something's going down. So, no, yeah, they usually don't have a lot of doomsday planes unless something's going to happen. But we had one doomsday plane earlier and a doomsday plane yesterday going to and from Dias Air Force Base, which is a bomber base, which is pretty weird. So, let's see. I'm looking for some cameras. It's not much in the Middle East, unfortunately. How's it going, Mary Beth Hammond? Good to see you. Juliana Rose, how's it going? Good to see you. I'm glad you enjoy the stream. Does anyone know if northern Minnesota is safe in SHTF? Yeah, northern Minnesota is definitely a good option. It's very secluded. There's not a lot of nuclear war targets nearby, so yeah, definitely. It's definitely a decent option for sure. There's no nuclear war targets in northern Minnesota, so the only thing you could potentially get fallout from Minot, North Dakota, where the missile field is, could potentially get fallout from there. Depending on the prevailing winds, they may or may not hit you, but yeah, northern Minnesota is one of the better areas to be during SHTF. A lot of geographic isolation, a lot of forest. So definitely a good option. The 3 soldiers killed were African American. Yes, that's right. All the 3 soldiers that were killed were African American. Claire on the road. How's it going, Claire? Thanks for showing up and thanks for watching. Yeah, Great Falls and Minot, especially Minot, because Minot is not too far from northern Minnesota. Actually, let's look at the map together. Northern Minnesota, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, northern Wisconsin is one of the better areas to be in the country as far as SHTF. Bugging out, survival retreat. It's definitely one of the better areas to be. So let me see if I can share my screen here. We can look at it together. Let me see. Let's see. I'm gonna just put the map here up. So we got a map of the U.S. here. And so you can see one thing immediately about the northern Great Lakes is that there's a lot of woods here, okay? The northern Great Lakes, it's all woods, a lot of dense forests, lots of resources, wild game, fish, firewood, water, clean water. You also have a natural barrier in the wintertime with the deep snow and the extreme cold. It's going to keep a lot of people out unless they have proper gear, proper snow gear and transportation like snowmobiles. So the northern Great Lakes is good for that. If we look at northern Minnesota, we do have the missile field here in Minot. The missile field is right around here in north central North Dakota. So let's just measure the distance from there to, in a straight line, it's only 260 miles or so from the northern part of Minnesota, 300 miles. So you're looking at 300 to 450 miles from the Minot missile fields. It's a good enough distance to the point where the fallout would probably be a lot less. You're still going to get a lot of fallout, but it's going to be, you're not going to get a ton of fallout that far away. You're definitely going to get a good amount, depending on the wind, though, because it would have to be a westerly wind, which I don't think is too common in that part of the world. I don't think winds go from west to east, directly west, to east, unless it's like midsummer, maybe. But maybe you tell me. It's possible if it's in the summertime, you may get a westerly wind that could blow the fallout to you. But if it's like a southern wind, it'll blow it to your north to Canada, or in the winter, it'll blow it down towards Iowa and southern Minnesota and South Dakota. But this is a huge hazard area here. There's 150 silos here. So each silo has to be hit with 2 warheads in order to ensure complete destruction. So Russia would commit 300 warheads just to this area right here. Each warhead you're looking at, 10 to 50 times more powerful than, I'm sorry, not 50 times, like 10 or 20 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb. So, I mean, just imagine, 3,000 Hiroshima bombs detonating in this area. That's the amount of radiation. That's the comparison. Just to visualize in your head, imagine 3,000 Hiroshima bombs detonating around Minot. That's the amount of firepower and radiation that's going to be released. So it's quite a bit, and it's all going to be ground burst. They're going to have to hit it with ground burst because they have to annihilate the silo. And those silos are hardened to withstand a lot of Soviet warheads. So Russia would commit 2 warheads for each silo to ensure destruction. And they're probably going to use like a higher yield warhead, probably a couple, at least probably 200 kiloton, or at least 100 kiloton, which is like 5 times more powerful than Hiroshima. Um, so that's a big hazard right there. But, you have a lot of forested country here. Look at all these forests in northern Minnesota. Lots of state forest, national forest, lots of boggy terrain, very swampy, flat. It's not easy to cross through this area. So, you're not going to have a lot of people trying to go here unless they're prepared for it, because they're not going to make it far. So, especially in the wintertime. And then, northern Michigan, northern Wisconsin, same thing. So hopefully that helps you out. Hopefully that sheds some light. Benjamin Duckworth says, I live next to Patuxent River, and lately I haven't heard any Tacoma planes take off or land. Also, air traffic has been light. Yeah, it's very strange that it would suddenly be so light after being so busy the last few months. Sheila says, so glad you got out of New York. I think you'll be safe. Yeah, thank you, Sheila. Yeah, one of the reasons I moved here was because it's one of the most secure places in the eastern U.S. And then also it's close to my family members. And then, I still have some family and friends in New York. And I'm not super far. I can drive a couple hours and be in New York if I want to visit people. Um, so for me, it was a good compromise. But I'm far from big cities. There's no nuclear targets except to my south. Pretty far south of me, we have DC area, and we have some, government bunkers, but it's a good distance away. We have the Patriot missile facility where they build the Patriot missiles in Chambersburg, in Pennsylvania, southern PA, in Letterkenny. But other than that, there's not really many targets here. Uh, do I think Argentina would get hit in a nuclear war? I don't think so. Argentina is a pretty good place, actually. One of the safest places to be in the world, actually, is Argentina and Paraguay and Uruguay. Those are some of the safest places to be, just because it's so far away from very geographically isolated, like Paraguay and adjacent areas of Argentina are probably some of the safest places to be in the world. If you can buy yourself some land in Paraguay and build a bug out location and you have a way of getting there, you'd be in the safest area to be. There's no chance of nuclear targets there. There's no big population centers. It's very, very cheap there. The climate is, you get 4 seasons, lots of natural resources. It's geographically isolated. You have the Andes Mountains on one side. You have the jungles in Brazil to the north. So it's a good area. Paraguay and the adjacent areas of Argentina are very good. Um, Sheila says, I'm so thankful to have you doing what you do. I keep my SUV packed and ready in case I have to go, and I put EMP on mine in daughter's vehicle. Hopefully, we both can get to bug out shelter. Oh, you're talking about the EMP shield, right? Houthis claim to have hit a merchant ship in the Red Sea. Interesting. Yeah, they claimed that earlier. So yeah, they did. They did claim to hit a merchant ship. Yep, I talked about that earlier. Um, yeah, that would be the second ship to be hit. That would be the second ship, second commercial ship that has been hit. We have some footage coming out of Venezuela. Venezuela's moving missiles around. Let me get that on the screen. This is interesting. Venezuela's moving appears to be anti-aircraft missiles in Venezuela. I guess they're paranoid. They're paranoid that something may happen to them. Let me get some footage here for you guys. So we have some footage coming out of Venezuela. Check that out. Looks like missiles. Check that out. They're moving. Looks like anti-aircraft missiles. Good night, Tartan Granny. Thanks for tuning in. Carbureted cars will be okay, as you're going to have to figure out how to fuel them. Yeah, another thing about EMPs too is we just don't know how an EMP will actually if it's gonna how it's gonna affect vehicles. I mean, we always think the most catastrophic scenario that somehow it's gonna take out all the vehicles and you're not going to be able to drive anything. I mean, we don't know. Maybe the EMPs won't be that bad. They may not even hit us with an EMP. It's hard to say. It's hard to say what the effects will actually be. We don't know. It may not have the catastrophic effect that we think, that it's going to knock out our vehicles and stuff. Or maybe only certain areas of the country will get knocked out. It's not like uniform, like everything is going to lose power and every vehicle is going to stop working. We just don't know. It's never really been tested on that kind of a scale. So we have some footage coming in here from Venezuela showing apparently anti-ballistic missiles or air defenses being moved somewhere inside of Venezuela. I guess they're paranoid. Yes, the Houthis did hit, was it a U.S. ship? They hit a U.S. ship. Wow. When do I predict something may happen if you had to give a date? I think in the next couple of days, we're going to see this massive operation begin by the U.S. on Iran and Iranian proxies. That's going to be the first thing. I think later on this year, we're going to see an escalation between Ukraine and Russia. I think Russia is going to try to make another offensive and try to take more territory. And then I also think that Russia is going to do something against NATO and the Baltic countries later on this year. I'm looking at the fall time this fall. The Russians going after the Baltics. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. That's my predictions. I could be wrong. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts. Somebody's saying that on somebody's saying something about BBC News that they hit a U.S. ship. Let me see if I can find anything on that. I don't see anything right now. I don't see anything right now. What's going on down in South America? Venezuela is moving some air defenses. In Venezuela, they're moving air defenses around. What kind of nukes would Russia be using? What do you think? Would it be 100 megaton or 50 megaton? Neither of those. They don't have those kinds of nukes anymore. So they would use still nukes that are several times more powerful than Hiroshima, but they're going to be small to medium sized, and they're going to be a lot of them, and they're going to go after primarily military targets. They would only go after our cities if they feel like they have no other choice. It's always a possibility, but it's less likely that they would hit our cities. But it's possible. It depends on the situation. They could hit our cities. It's always a possibility, but it's less likely. In a normal scenario, they would just go after our military. Their primary goal is to basically destroy our nuclear arsenal so we can't retaliate. That's the main goal. Jeremy Olson, have a good night. Wife threw a pillow at me. That's funny. That's funny, man. Have a good night. I'll probably be streaming tomorrow night as well. Important cities like San Francisco and LA. Yeah, San Francisco and LA may get hit as well. What's going to happen? World War III? Yeah, World War III could start any day now. Anything can happen. Well, we're actually already in World War III. World War III already began. Um, See, we have some interesting statements from Putin today. Putin says he wants to push the front lines away from Russian territory, which means he may want to go after Kharkiv. Um, you see, we got the FBI director here. Let's read what the FBI director said. FBI director said something about the hacking. So, if this is a very massive campaign, it's going to begin whenever they're ready. It may take them some time to get ready. It may not happen tonight or tomorrow. It could happen in a couple days. Who knows? But it's going to be a big campaign. It looks like we have former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton. John Bolton said that Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, and Xi Jinping think that Trump is a fool. That's what John Bolton said. Interesting. Wow. Apparently, a bunch of people have been arrested during the farmers' protests. French police have arrested a bunch of angry farmers. Yeah, that's true, Greg. World War III started from Russia, Ukraine. Yes, it did start from Russia, Ukraine. I totally agree. Um, I think that's exactly what happened. 100%. I think it all started from Russia and Ukraine. You know, once Russia invaded Ukraine, all these dictator countries thought it would be okay to, do whatever they want without punishment because they saw that there was no punishment for Russia invading Ukraine. So it just opened the floodgates, and all these other countries started acting out. So I totally agree. It's really quiet over the U.S. Look at this. We don't have hardly any planes right now. This is pretty weird. We do have 3 aerial refuelers that went to the Red Sea. Interesting. We have Jake 17 in the UK getting ready to take off. Looks like he's going to go up into the Baltics to patrol the Russian border. So pretty interesting. Yeah, the Tsar bomb was the largest bomb ever tested. I'm going full bore. I guess so, yeah. I don't know if I'll stay up as late as I did last night. I might actually cut it short. I might end the stream in a little bit. I'll probably end the stream in a little bit. I'd like to leave the streams up actually 24/7. I'm just concerned about YouTube with leaving the streams up like that. Sometimes they don't like when you do that. Um, do you believe our government would warn us if something was coming? No. They ready their lives, not ours. Yep, exactly. Yeah, something weird is going on. It's very strange how quiet it is over the U.S. I mean, we haven't seen hardly any doomsday planes or anything. It's pretty weird. Usually there's several nuclear warplanes and stuff. So I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely a little weird. But I think this operation is going to be a big one. A lot of people don't think so. They think it's going to be tiny and minor. I don't believe that's for all the reasons I said earlier, that I think it's going to be a serious one. Let me see here. I'm going to just check something. See if I can get another webcam. See if we can get a webcam from Estonia and Narva, maybe. It's interesting. They shut down the camera for the border crossing with Russia and Estonia. They shut it down. That's really suspicious. That's suspicious. Let's see. What about Lithuania? Yes. Maybe, let's see. Let's see, what could we get a camera of? See if I can get some cameras here of the Baltics. See what's going on in the Baltics. Oh, we got one right here on the border with Lithuania. This looks like Belarus by one of the border crossings. Interesting. I'm surprised it's actually working. Huh. Wow. I don't know if I want to play that one though. Yeah, it is a little too quiet right now. It's really unusually quiet. Patreon X, thank you so much for the donation. Glory to God. Amen. Glory to God. That's the most important prep, is faith in God. Absolutely. Good morning, Daffy Duck. Tanya Womack says amen. I'm trying to find a good webcam. I'm trying to find something near the Russian border. Let's see. We got one here pretty close to the Russian border. Let's see. Got one right next to Kaliningrad. What's this? Oh, you can't really see. It's nighttime. We got one camera that's on the tri-border area. That's a good one. It's just that oh yeah, sun's coming up. You can actually see it. It's a good one. Only thing is I can't make it bigger. That sucks. I gotta zoom in on it. Guess I can try to crop it somehow. Yeah, this is at the tri-border between Russia, Poland, and Lithuania. This could be the location where World War III starts, or where nuclear war starts, that is. See if I can maximize it a little. There we go. So far, no wildlife coming to the pond there in Uganda. Good morning, ER Life. How's it going? I think I'm going to speed up the chat a little because there's less people in here. Have a blessed night, MCCR. Good to see you. Good night, Christopher James. Yeah, I don't know what they're waiting for. It's really strange. I think that they're just making sure everything's in position before they start, because maybe it's going to be a big campaign, so they want to make sure they have everything ready to go. That's the only thing I can think of. So I don't know. Element of surprise. That's another one too. Yeah, element of surprise. Yep. Element of surprise. I might actually leave the stream up overnight. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. What do you guys think? I might shut this one down and then restart a new stream and leave it up overnight. What do you guys think about that? Let me know. Give it a try tonight, see what happens. Heck yeah, says ER Life. Thank you for the response. I think you should. Until what time are you staying? I'm probably gonna cut it. I'm probably gonna end it soon, like in a few minutes, because I have a few things to do, and I stayed up so late the last 2 nights, so I got to catch up on some sleep and do a couple of things here. Um, Parabellum Prepper says I can mod. I'll be in and out all night. Aldo says it's up to you and folks. I can keep watch till I fall asleep. Monitors need sleep too. Yeah, lots of aerial refuelers going over Saudi Arabia. That's right. So what I'll do is, it's good to see you, Parabellum. Or they are giving them time to get people out of the way if this is all theater for public consumption. It's very, very possible. No, I don't have any pets. I used to have a dog. She passed away like 10 years, actually 12 years ago. I haven't had any pets since then. Mostly because it's like a big emotional investment when you buy a pet. You know, it's like when they die, it's like a person dying. So I just don't want to invest myself emotionally in another pet. But I did have a dog when I was a kid. She passed away in 2012, and it's just hard for me to replace her, I guess, you know. So since her, I haven't had any pets, but I do love animals for sure. Aerial refuelers. Let me see, where are those aerial refuelers? Oh, wait, we have another Doomsday plane. Check that out, guys. Look, a second Doomsday plane just taking off. Wow. We have a Doomsday plane that just took off from Offutt Air Base. Wow. Wow. Interesting. Interesting. Definitely got to monitor that. So what I'll do is I'll leave up these two flight trackers, and I'm going to change the web camera because the Africa webcam, it times out every few minutes. So I'm going to find a different webcam that doesn't time out. And I'll leave it up overnight. Yeah, we have 4 aerial refuelers that flew to the Red Sea. Yep. I'm going to just find a different webcam. I need a 3Ps decal for my boat. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Did you see the movement in Venezuela? Yes, I did see the movement of the air defense missiles in Venezuela. Those are probably air defense missiles. I don't trust any of the mainstream media or the globalists. Yeah, me either. The farmer have done that for weeks now. So I think I'm going to shut it down, and then restart, and I'm going to leave it up overnight, and then I'll come back in the morning. So I should have 3-piece shirts. Yes, I have 3-piece shirts. I have a whole Teespring store with shirts, mugs, iPhones, iPhone things. I believe I also have decals also. You can shop under any one of my videos on YouTube. There's a link to my store. So yeah, I also have some other designs too. I've had them for a while. Tammy says the base in Rapid City is crazy still. Mark Zuckerberg is in a lot of trouble. Tanya Womack, how's it going, Tanya? ER Life says, thanks so much. Been having overnight War Watch withdrawal. Angela Commander says, thanks, Greg. Good night. God bless everyone. God bless, Angela. Campbell Clan says, sounds good, Greg. Have a good night. Good night, Hugh. Good night, Aldo. Aldo says, I have to do that when I get paid. Yeah, I have a Teespring store. Yep. Crow TN, thanks for showing up tonight. Yeah, we have to be on high alert for terror cells being activated in the U.S. for sure. Absolutely. Good night, Scott Dykstra. Good night, everyone. So I'll probably restart the stream and leave it up. So see you guys later. Have a good night. Sleep well. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll be monitoring all these events, and I'll be doing more streams. So take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.